Got okay. Let's. When as we wanted to discuss about the test plan, so first we should know what is a test plan, and then what is the difference between a test plan and a strategy. Who will be preparing this one, and what is the purpose of this one? So I think last time we have been given at a high level view about this particular test plan and then these things. See, as the point is rightly said, so by Sasi, so test strategy will be done by QA, means quality assurance team across the organization, whereas test plan would be created for a particular project. So that is what the basic differences between a test plan and then a test strategy. So now in the test strategy, it means for the complete throughout the organization. For an example, Cognizant. So when the Cognizant is working, so Cognizant have a huge entity and they support for different domains like automobile. They will support for healthcare. They can support for finance. They support for the banking domain and they support for all. So when they do that particular, when supporting for all at a organization level, they will define this strategy. Oh, this is what the testing strategies we need to do. This is what the types of testings we need to do. This is what the techniques we need to use, and this is what the automation lifecycle we need to use. This is what the bug lifecycle we need to use. So like this we will be defining with a different set of information, complete the roles, responsibilities. I just wanted to share in this one of the document which we have been prepared. So this is a real-time document. If you see here, they complete the roles and responsibility of the testing team, and roles and responsibility, how the coordination, the testing governances between the people, the BA team and the development team. So that's the testing governances, means how a testing can be collaborated across the cross functional teams. So those all things will be talked about. Just guys, give me 1 second, 1 second please guys. Okay, I'm sorry for the okay. So now this that's how we will be they will be creating the particular test strategy. So in the strategy it completely talks about the across the organization. So means the complete different entities or different cross functional teams, so how it would be happening, and how we need to do the QA auditings, and how we need to do the approach of the testing automation. I mean the ALCs, DLCs, TLCs, everything will be defined, and then the test strategy is a mother document for the organization. So from this test strategy, the test plans are derived, and test plans will be at the project level. So now when it comes to the project level, so if you see here, so this is what the table of content. I think on this particular table of content, just we have given a quick walkthrough. I'll just give you the same thing today also, but into the details. So whatever the questions you have it, so we can discuss about it. So now here what it will be happened is, so now stress means I will not get into the test strategy now. So first I'll talk about the test plan only, because we need to understand what is a test plan, then we can understand the test strategy very clearly. And actually if you see here, when you wanted to define the test strategy, so here we will be having IEEE standards. So IEEE 830 and 829. So this is one of the standard. So where you need to means how you need to define your test plans. See, everyone can prepare a test plan, but you need to prepare basing on the right standards. So that is where, so we created based upon this particular standard of writing it. You seen it right? 83 means 829 is a test plan document, and 830 is the requirement standards. So according to that particular standards, we will be writing our test plan. So how to write a test plan, and what are the basic informations we need to keep it into this. So we have gone through all these particular articles, and then based upon these particular articles we have been created this particular document. So anyways, I'm pinging this particular thing into the chat also, so you can keep it for your reference too. Okay. Now, into means now who will be preparing this particular test plan? So first thing we have discussed, what is the difference between a test plan and a test strategy? And so we need to have while creating the particular test plan, we should this will be done at a project level, and then it should be done on the according to the standards of 829. So this is what we have discussed. And who and what is test plan? So first I'll explain what is a test plan, and then who will be preparing this particular test plan. Now, as I told you last time also, I have been taken an example that, so I'm going on a vacation. So now when I'm going for a vacation, so I just need to have a proper planning for that. So now I'm planning for Maldives. Now when I'm going for Maldives, so first I need to take care that all my flights are available or not. So is it a direct flight, or I need to go for Sri Lanka, and from Sri Lanka I need to go for Maldives, and I need to get down in the Malay, and then from the Malay I need to take my jetty or speedboat, and so that I can go for the respective island for my resort. So now what I'll do, so before that itself, when I'm going there, first I'll block my calendar, resort and cars, and then these jetties and all the things, I'll be booking it. And then once after reaching there, so what are the places, means what are the famous, means the better places I wanted to go. Okay, I need to go for a scuba diving, I need to go for a parasailing, and I need to go for snorkeling. So I'll be having all the plans, and then I'll make it that, okay, I'll do that on the day one, I'll go for a scuba diving. Day two, I'll go for a lunch in Island, Norman Highland, and then my dinner in the candlelight dinner. So I'll plan something, all those things, right? So when I'm going somewhere, so how I designed my plan and everything I has been there. So when I have these things, it would be very much easier for me. Okay, according to this, according to my plan, I'll go and organize that. But if I don't have the plan, so directly I went there, I don't know which jetty I need to take care, or which I means which jetty will take me to the island, and then what are the things it will be available over there. So there I need to do the exploration. So that is what the basic differences between if you have a plan or without a plan. So always it is suggestible to have a proper planning, so that we can go ahead, right? So one famous quote by Abraham Lincoln, so if you have a job of 8 hours, so do 6 hours of planning and 2 hours of implementation, to avoid all your reworks and all the things. So always you should be having a proper planning to do certain things. Now, to do the complete testing for that particular phase, we should be having this particular test plans. Okay. So now when we have this particular test plan, the basic thing is we will be mentioning the first section is the overview section. So in this overview section, we will say that what is this particular purpose of this particular document, or what exactly we are trying to do. So I'm going to test, for an example, I'm going to test make my trip site. So I'm just saying that, so I'm going to test this make my trip site. So I will be doing all the cross functional browsers, and then cross OS and all the things I just wanted to do it. So that is in this particular document, I'll be talking about the details of that particular testing activities. So that is what I'll be keeping as a purpose. Now in the intended audience, now for whom I'm trying to prepare this particular document, so I'll be preparing it for the development team, testing team, and support team, and the business analyst or the product owners. For all these particular peoples, I'll be trying to create this particular document. So we are creating this document. For whom I'm creating this particular document, it talks in the intended audience. For these people, I'm trying to create it. And what are the references of this particular document? For an example, for a particular sprint, so all the user stories will be locked into the Jira or TFS or whatever the thing. So there we will be mentioning, so the based of this particular test plan has been created based upon these particular requirements, or based upon this particular user stories. So that reference documents and the reference links will be provided in the reference section. And the revision history, so now the document will be having a hard upgrades and a soft upgrades. So hard upgrades means if there is any major changes, then it will be coming to 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is a soft upgrade, it is 1.1, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, like that. So now when we have that particular revisions, so now what is a revision in that particular document? So what are the changes we have been made the document? So revision, date, and who is the author of this one? So if you see in the real-time documents, so that would be a huge list, you'll be finding it out. If you see here, the revision history, so this is how the draft version. So if it is 0 point something, means still all these things in a draft. Now what is this in this one? So here if it is seeing that, so this is suggested by me, and then this is suggested by another on-site coordinator, and then this is also suggested by. So now once we have done, we reviewed it and we send it to the on-site coordinators, they will review it and they will send it to the director level. So at that time, so we have been prepared it. So when we have done this particular the dates and who is the author of this particular document, so all those particular informations will be in the revision history, and the reviewer history who have reviewed this particular document. So first means the hierarchy of that particular thing also we need to mention it here. So this is the hierarchy we need to mention. So this is how the this particular first section would be available in the overview section: purpose, intended audience, reference documents, revision history, and reviewer history. Guys, this is would be like a 16 marks question. You need to tell, if you wake up in the sleep also, you should able to tell me what are the content of the test plan. So this is one of the important question when you go for a manual testing interviews. So what is the difference between a test plan, test strategy, and what is a test plan? So you need to say that this is what a test plan, and the test plan will be created based upon 8 to 9, and the test plan will be created by the test leads and reviewed by the test managers, and then it can be given it for the different intended audience. So that is what we need to start with it. And if someone asks you what is a content or what will be consist of what is a purpose of this particular test plan, so these all things will be comes into this one. So next one, the testing scope and objective. So what I'm going to test, see my what is my the exact boundary line. So from where I'll start, so and from where I'll stop. So I'll say that means the in store means, for an example, I'll say that for an example in a Gmail, I'll take the inbox, outbox, trash, and then spam. So these are the things in scope. And out scope, I'll not test the outbox, I'll not test integration with Google Drive, I'll not test integration with some other tools. So those integrations and those things I'll not test it over there. So those are the things which I'll be mentioning into the out of scope. And then in scope, so these are the things which I'm going to test it. Guys, keep it in mind. The most important thing for this particular document is out of scope, because we are particularly saying that, boss, I'm not going to test this one. If any bugs comes on this one, so we are not liable for this. So please make sure that these are the things you need to verify. So if you are okay, then let me know. If it is not, so this is a risk actually. So the people should agreed upon this, and then we should proceed on this. And objective, for every testing we should have a basic objective on this one. So now what do you mean by an objective? Means what I'm going to achieve from the functional testing, what I'm going to achieve from the regression testing, and what I'm going to achieve from the overall testing of this one. So I'm going to test on these all, and I shouldn't find any particular bugs. So I'm going to test all the functionalities of this, and I'm going to test all the regressions of this, and I'm going to check the stability of the applications with a bug free. So that is what you need to mention over here. Why we need to mention this test objective means, if you are doing security testing, the objective of that one is different. If you are doing the performance testing, means the objective of that one will be different. If you are doing the functional regression, the objective is different. How it is different means, in the function, the performance testing, I'll check the performance of the application, not other things, the functionalities and those things I'll not check it. And in the security testing, I'll check the security of that particular application, not the performance and the functional things. And when it comes to the functional and the regression, I'll check only the functionality of the application, not the performance and the security. So you should be having a clear cut test objective, what I wanted to derive from that particular thing. So this is what the second section, the test scoping and then objective, so which we will be discussing. And next one, the test approaches. The test approaches is nothing but not our integration testing approaches. So this is like, what are the types of testing we are performing on this application. So whether we are doing the functional system integration, regression, randomly we have been given here. So we'll be writing all different categories of the testing, and these are derived from our tester strategy. In tester strategy, we'll mention all categories of testing. So from there, this for this particular project and for this particular test execution, for this particular test objective, these are things which required. So those things we'll mention it, and we'll say that we are performing this. So that's what the types of testing we are keeping here. And then the approach, we will be mentioning it. So approach is nothing but whether we are going with a manual testing approach or automation approach. So those things we will be mentioning into this approach section, whether I'm doing only the manual testing or I'll be doing the manual testing plus the automation testing. So those informations I'll be getting over here. And the most important thing is the entry criteria and the exit criteria. What do you mean by the entry criteria or exit criteria? Means when I should start the testing and when I should come out of the testing. So now you need to answer me this particular question, saying that when I should start the testing. So it means after doing what we can confirm that this application is ready for the testing. So what of the type we will be doing it over there, Monica? After which type of testing we can confirm that, so this testing means I can proceed further and this is where I can enter for the testing. So from which one I can get understand about that? Okay, so anyone?
BVT smoke
Excellent.
should
That's
be.
it, right? Why, guys? Why are you thinking too much? So we need to do means once we have done means all means if the application is stable. See, guys, the basic thing when we are taking for an testing. So the first thing, the first question is whether the application is stable or not, for especially for doing the automation. And then when it comes to the basic testing, we will be asking that. So means we will just means whether all the unit testings are run or not. So that's a basic thing. So when a developer gives to us, the first question we need to ask them whether you have done the units or not. All the units are passed or not. If units itself it's not passed, is there any chance that you need to run for smoke or BVT? Doesn't matter anything. So first thing is all the application is stable, and the second pointer is all the units should be passed. So that is what your entry point of the testing. So then once you got that, then you will start with the BVT and the smoke and then other things. Okay, so the entry point is this. So that application should be stable, up and running. Second thing, the application should be completed with the a test executions. Now exit criteria, when I should exit this particular testing. So when I'm going to exit this one is when I complete all the testings and all the bugs are fixed and all the bugs are logged and all the things are logged in, and then I'll prepare a sign off document, and then I'll hand over that particular sign off document. So this is what the exiting that particular testing. So that is called exit test criteria. So now from that, I'm just trying to exit out of this. So that is what the entry criteria and the exit criteria. And test suspension resumption criteria. So what is the difference between the test entry and exit criteria and test suspension and resumption criteria means? So test entry and exit is the starting pointers. So this is where I enter, this is where I'll exit. But whereas the test suspension and resumption, in the middle of the testing, if I wanted to suspend the testing, so I can suspend that, and then I wanted to resume it back, then I'll do the resuming. So when it would be suspended means if the application is not available, if the application is down, so what else you can do? So and then if there is any showstopper P1 bugs, so that's it, right? So now there is a login functionality. Now you can't log in. So then what else you can test it? So then if there is a P1 bugs are there, so and P1 and critical bugs are critical severity bugs are there. So then that particular means at that point of time, I'll suspend this. And then if the application is not and up and running, so I'll not proceed with the testing. Means you have typed www.agoda.com, and then application itself it was saying that 404 error or 501 error. So when we have that particular errors, then there is no point of proceeding further, right? So that is what suspension. And resumption is when I'll be starting this one. So once again we'll say that the application should be up and running and all the bugs should be fixed in the state, whatever the P bugs or P1 bugs and everything is fixed, then I'll resume, means I'll do the resumption of that particular bugs and I'll proceed further with the execution. So this is what we will talk and discuss in the entry exit criteria and suspension resumption criteria. And the next step, okay, I'll just give a pause over here. So any questions? Okay, so now let's go to sorry, so you're back, Nazima, so interview cancelled.
Done, interview done.
Oh, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So fine. So now let's any other questions before going for the next one? Okay, let's get started with this, the schedules and the levels of effort. So the schedules is nothing but, see guys, this is most important thing. Now when we do for an example, I'll show one of the project, so the real time project. So when you are trying to estimate any particular projects, so estimation is completely a new, means a different topic, I told you, right? How to do the test case estimations, so that is the most important. If you don't do the estimations properly and coming back and saying to us, then that is absolutely wrong. So yesterday also we given discussed with an example with that. So how to do an estimations, or estimations is guesstimates. All that particular guesstimates, how we wanted to do is, we will be having techniques to do that one. And before doing that one, firstly you should know the WBS. What do you meant by WBS? WBS means work breakdown structure. So I'll just try to show for one of the real time project which we have done it. So in this particular real time project, if you see here, so this is what we have been done. Not this one, this is not, oh, I overridden this one. I have overridden that one. Just, you need to give me a minute to show you that real time thing. So what is this WBS means? It's a work breakdown structure. The name itself, it was saying that breaking down the work into the smaller chunks. So once you break down that one, so we will be it means we will be saying that, means we will be doing the estimations for that one. So I'll show you something sample so that it can be helpful for you. That's where I'm not able to find it over here too, where I kept the stocks. Just one more second. Last try. I'll try to give it here. Uh, okay, so let's try with this. Mm. This is what the thing. Okay, so this is for one of the famous client we have been done. One of the major client from Bangalore. So we have done for this one. Now, if you see here, this is what the WBS which we have been done. Now, at a framework level, means from the automation framework level, what are the activities we are trying to do? So we have been listed down each and every activity over here. So now for, means for the framework, I need to integrate with the APM with Android, and then I need to integrate with the pCloud. I need to integrate with the API automation. I need to integrate with the real-time device implementation and common code libraries. So like this, we have been means we will be writing that, and then here we'll be having the action items for this, and then what is the status of this, and then who would be working on this. So I'll be working on this, and then what is my demo dates, and then how I'll be having, what are the assumptions I'll be having it. And you see here, I clearly always mention this is out of scope. If someone asks me, boss, I already kept this is an out of scope, please don't ask me. And this is what my dates. See, now you tell me how much clear it is. And based upon, means if you see here, the same thing it comes. So now we have done it for this for the mobile, and then this is what the test cases level, and then this is what for the API, and this is what for the performance. So we will be first breaking down each and every task, and then for that particular task we'll give the actually here what we have done is we have used the experience based technique. So you'll have three techniques. One is functional point technique, and then experience based technique, and then next one is deep first estimation technique. So we have three types of estimation techniques. So I used here the experience based technique. So based upon that, so we have been derived this one. So when I talk about the estimations, I'll talk about the functional pointer. So functional pointer is the most accurate thing when it comes to do the estimations. Okay, so now this is how first we will detail. So these are the list of tasks which we'll be doing it, and then by this particular dates and times I'll be trying to deliver for this one. So this is how you need to create a schedule, and the LOE means level of efforts. So that's how we will create that particular LOE, and then we will share it to the people. So the schedule also, it was very clear. So what I'm going to deliver in the first release, first demonstration and second demonstration, and then what I'll deliver for the complete milestones. So that's how we will be deriving the schedules and then LOAs. And next one, the dependencies. So dependencies is nothing but, boss, if I wanted to test the DB, you're asking me to test the DB. So when I go and test the DB, so I should have I should when I go and test for the DBs, I should have the basic credentials of that particular DB, and DB should be up and running, and DB should be accessible for us. And then if I'm going to test any particular third-party integration things, so I should be having that integrations, logins, and all those things. So that is what we are going to discuss in part of the dependencies. So that's how you should always remember and think about these particular pointers. Okay, so this is what about the dependencies and the things. And the next one is the okay, so before going to the next topic, I just wanted to give a pause. Any doubts in the schedules and the level of efforts, and then in the dependencies, do you have any particular questions around this? Okay, so now when it comes to this particular topics, means once after the dependencies and the schedules and then LOAs, we will be having the risk and assumptions. So the risk is nothing but I've given you the example. I think the same example. I'm going for an examination. So suddenly, if my cycle means my bike got punctured, then what I'll do? I'll immediately I'll park my bike there, and then I'll take a cab, and then I'll go away. If there is a risk, this is what the mitigation. So this is called risk mitigation plan document. So those are, we do have some bigger documents for that, but in our test plan we will not get into the details of that. So just we will say that these are the issues and these are the risk it might becomes. For an example, if the DB didn't we'll have a DB team. So if the DB team is not available and they didn't given the DB accesses, the project will be there will be a slippage in the project, and the functional team will be there. So the functional team need to give all the manual test cases on time to complete the automation cases. So whatever the risk you will be foreseeing, so that particular risk you can write it. So how we can write a risk means, for an example, now I asked you people, so you guys are there in Chennai, you wanted to go for Pondicherry. Now can you tell me what are the risks we have it? So my tire got punctured, or I need to check all my fuel and all my car condition, and there should be no natural calamities, and there should be probably no riots or anything. So everything is smooth, then I'll reach the project on time, means to reach to Pondicherry on time. Same way, there shouldn't be any delay in the requirements or delay in the fixing the bugs or delay in any other things. So you should clearly inform the people that I don't have these issues, so that it would be better, so that the people foresee the risk, and if they have to mitigate any particular risk, they will do that. So that's how the risk will be identified and then noted down here. You need to think, that's all depends upon your experiences, you'll be getting it, but you should know what is this section. So writing that one details will means that based upon your experience you'll be getting it. Now for an example, means I'm cooking a biryani. So now what are the risk I can say? There might be salt would be more, masala would be more. So if I masala and salt is more, then I can take a lemon and then I can squeeze that lemon so that it can compensate the taste. So that's how we need to plan. So if there is a risk, what is a mitigation? If they suddenly resource went on a leave, so how he will be doing it? So if suddenly we need to buy some licenses, so how we need to do it? So all the things, it depends upon project to project. So we can't have an accurate risk we can think. See, now for biryani the risks are different. For a travel there is a risk are different, and for a training there is a risk is different. Means there would be internet connectivity or online issue or the Zoom issue, might be anything, right? So that's how these things would be derived, and we should have always a mitigation plan. So plan B should have it. If something happens, so what I should do? So that also we need to identify. So the next one is assumptions. Assumptions is nothing but, oh, assume this, according to my assumption we will do this. My assumption is this, I'm trying to do this. My assumption is this, I'm trying to do this. So that's how we will try to proceed further with these aspects. So my assumptions are just, it's a normal English terms. So I means my assumptions is all these things will be given on time. All the test cases will be given on time, and the application will be always stable. Like that we will be having the assumptions. If you see some real, if you wanted to see from real time assumptions, you see we have written the in scope. So how we have given, so these are the things we are going to test. Okay, so why we are, means the objective of that one. So objective we have been mentioned here. You see here, this is one of the huge project. So it's a really awesome. So we have done this one before, I think 8 years or 7 years. So this, and then we have clearly mentioned, you see that we are not doing this. Okay, so we do have few satellite applications. So for these applications we are not testing that, and these applications we are testing this. And see, these are our testing approaches. Don't get confused, that would be too much of information, because we means that's a completely an investment banking sector. So we have a huge amount of tons and tons of data. So there we have been written it. And come back to this dependencies. See now, these are the dependencies which we have mentioned. Any business change and the development and the application support team members need to provide the requirements of applications, accesses, DB connections, and authorizations. So the dev and application team needs to provide the test data to test the testing team required. So that's how the dependencies has been defined. And see, these are the risk and then we have mitigation strategy for this one. Delay in delivering the completed test items from the development will be impacting the testing timescales and the final releases. So this is what the mitigation plan. So we identified a risk, and then this is what the mitigation plan of this one. Okay, this is how we will write the risk and then mitigation plan. And if you see here, the assumptions and the constraints. So assumptions, out of scope items will be not covered as part of this delivery. That is what our assumption. And UAT environment will be made available before the testing phase completed. That's it, right? If you don't give me the environment, how I can test this? And then the requirements are complete and accurate and the testable. So they should give the requirements, clear cut requirements to us. And QA environment is deployed within any issues before starting the testing. So that's how we will be writing the assumptions. And constraints. Constraints is nothing but, see, the normal English dictionary meaning. What do you meant by constraints here? So constraints is something hurdles or some problem. If it happen. Okay, I think. Some hurdles will be getting it, right? See, some restrictions, means what are our restrictions? So I can't test the payment in the real time data. So those are our constraints. So assumptions and constraints, we will be explaining them priorly. So that was, if there is anything payment, real time payment I need to do it, I'll not do it. So you need to give me some testable master cards or visa cards for us. So like that we will be giving that the restrictions in detail to the people. So that's how the assumptions and then constraints will be defined. So the next one is see, deliverables. The tested deliverables, if you see here, the next one is also for us here. Okay, tested data. So I told you that tested data is nothing but the data which is used to test that particular thing. So just we need to provide that particular tested data, whether the means who will be giving and where it will be available. Sometimes it might be in Excel sheets, sometimes it might be in the DBs. So sometimes it may be in the JSON files or YAML files or XML files, whatever. So that particular resources from where I should get my tested data. So that particular informations we will be mentioning it over this section. So it should be very much clear. And what are the things I'll be going to deliver? So if you see here in the real-time project, we'll be giving a test strategy and test plan, test approach and levels and efforts, and the test data, test algorithms, test scenarios, test cases, test results, test summary report, and test sign-off documents. See, all these above mentioned test deliverables will be made available at the below project SharePoint location. In this particular location, you will be having the access for all these particular documents. So this is what our test deliverables means. Out of this particular testing, what is a thing you will be getting out of this? So that is what the test deliverables will talks about. Next, so we completed for the test deliverables and the test data and the risk and assumptions and the constraints. So any questions over here? Okay, so now we'll go for the test environments and the test management tools. So because this is strategy document and this is plan document, that's where the contents might be getting differed. But I wanted to show you that in the real-time project how it would be. So that's where I was just opening and showing to this. So what are the test environments we do have is, so we have the CRTS, the Charles River Trading System, V9 test. So that's a environment we have it. And what are the UAT environments we have it, and then what is the testing tools we'll be using it. So we have used at that time coded UI. So that's one of the topmost tool at that point of time with C# technology. We use that, and then Office, and then TFS. So Team Foundation Server for requirements, and then bug tracking mechanism. So that is what we have been mentioned here in the test environments and the tools. Means what environments you'll be using it, and what are the tools you will be using it. So all those particular information I'll be getting out of this. Next one, test management and then controls. Like if at all you do have defects, so how you will try to do it, and then how you wanted to organize the meetings and how you maintain the documentation. So these all things will be part of your test management and controls. So if you see here in the test plan, so the section here, it talks about the requirement management. So how the requirement would be managed in the TFS or in Jira, where you wanted to manage them and how you wanted to manage them. And in the defects, so all your defect management will be logged over here, and all your test case management will be logged over here. And even your resources management, who are the resources working and how they are working, if there is any leave calendar, leave planner, all those informations also will be locked over here. So I think we have been kept that also into this strategy. So and okay, we didn't mention. So if you see here, what is the different types of testing? See, now for a type of testing, when should I means for a functional and system testing, when I should enter and when I should exit. What is my suspension and then resumption criteria? And system testing, for each testing we have been defined it. For a regression testing, when I enter, when I close, means I'll exit it. And for the non-functional testing, for the load, stress, usability, GUI, data load, database, security testing, how we are trying to do it. So all those informations we have mentioned it. And guidelines for entering remark. So these are the few guidelines which we have been written, that when we should enter, when should we go out. So that's how we will be writing our complete test case management, the test management and then control systems. And then this is what appendix. So in the appendix, so you'll be writing whatever the abbreviated words or acronyms you have been used. So you will be expanding and then giving the details of it. And this is what the document approval. So document approval is nothing but who has to approve what. So when we have to approve this particular things, so he is the head of the department testing, and then he's a project manager, so she is a project manager, and then he is a delivery manager, and then I'm from the testing manager. So we have done this one. So that's how we will be creating these particular documents, and then we will be sharing this. And yeah, nowadays I don't think the people has been done. I think this document is also very old document. Probably in 13 or 14 we have done this document. Yeah, in 2014 we have done this particular document. So now you can understand. So at that means day by day the people are moving it, but that should be having a clear cut strategy. Now the basic problem is we do have the younger generation who went into the manual testings, and they means so automation engineers. They'll be calling as so-called automation engineers, but if you ask them what is a test plan, the people will not even able to say what is a test plan. Then I don't know how they will be